Pepper Grinder is the latest indie darling from Devolver Digital. It's short and sweet but gives you a fast-paced, unique experience bursting with charm. At the beginning of the game, your character is washed up on shore after a shipwreck with their treasure. That treasure is then stolen by a pirate, and after being thrown into a cavern, our main character wastes no time before revving up their newly found drill and getting to work. And that's basically the entire story. Story-driven, this game is not. If you've played the demo, or editing me decides to put the opening in this video, you've basically seen the whole story already, aside from a triumphant scene at the end. Spoilers, I guess. It harkens back to ye olden days of video games, when men were plumbers and stories were simple and just really a way to contextualize the gameplay. Save the princess by jumping on things, beat up the guy with the evil laugh, or get the treasure. And like said ye olden games, Pepper Grinder is all about the gameplay. And the gameplay is great and simple. You have a drill, and kind of like the story, that's more or less it. It's closest to a 2D platformer in terms of genre, but instead of precise jumps over unexplained floating platforms, you're using a drill to pull yourself through unexplained floating patches of dirt, or ice, or meat. It sounds like a small difference, but it feels completely different because once you start drilling, you're being constantly pulled through it, so there's no time to stop and think and carefully line up your next jump. You just gotta keep moving and make your decision fast lest you fall into a pit or pierce a bomb. It feels fast and exhilarating as you get launched out of a cannon into a floating patch of dirt and have to quickly navigate your way through, suspended over bottomless pits surrounded by explosives. While the game isn't super difficult, it does still have a bite to it, and you still gotta be on point, especially in those faster segments. But even when I did get through a section with relative ease, it still felt challenging. Still felt like I made it through by the skin of my teeth, or that any small mistake could have been the death of me, and that's ultimately what matters. That unique movement mechanic applies to combat as well. I mean, you got a giant fucking drill, of course you're gonna use it. But instead of just running up to guys and sticking them with the pointy end, a lot of times the game has you drilling through the ground under them, jumping out like a great white shark to skewer your prey. And this is how you fight pretty much every boss as well, digging around the ground, waiting for the right moment, then boosting out to get your hit in, before diving back underground to narrowly avoid their strikes. It was right around the time the game had me dashing through some dirt, flying out and having me grapple onto a hook to swing up and around into another patch or into another hook, to spin around it and launch myself, maintaining my momentum all the way through, that I was like, oh crap, I really gotta pay attention now, and the game really started to click because it's throwing a fair amount at you so quickly. But never felt overwhelming either, because the game does a good job introducing all of those mechanics and spacing them out. And a lot of those mechanics are great because of their simplicity. The game almost never stops you for a tutorial, just sort of throws it at you and respects the player enough to let them figure it out. And it was all intuitive enough that I always felt like I just kind of knew what to do, even on the fly like that. And the game just bounds with creativity in its level design, with one particular highlight being when the game has you drilling up falling blocks of ice to climb your way up a mountain. Another level has you using your drill to propel yourself through the water and up through the bottom of an enemy ship to sink it. Every level in New World felt like it would introduce something new, use it just enough to satisfy, and then move on to something new before it got old. And there's actually kind of like set piece moments in this game, which is kind of weird because we tend to associate that with, the more cinematic AAA kind of stuff. But you can get into giant mechs and stomp through cities in this game, get into high-speed snowmobile chases, and sometimes you just get a gun. They remind me almost of those times you get the Firefly or Star in Mario games, where so much of the game is about avoiding enemies, and then suddenly the game gives you way more power and lets you just go crazy for a bit as a bit of a breather. All of that creativity does burn kinda hot and fast though. The game is short, running you about 4 hours. You can easily finish it over a weekend. I did it in a few sittings. There's only 4 worlds, each one only has like 6 levels, and that's including bonus and boss levels. That's going to be an immediate turnoff for a lot of people, and that's totally understandable. I've been there, I understand having a limited budget and thus wanting more bang for your buck. And there just isn't much reason to replay levels either. Once you beat a level, you do unlock a time attack mode where you can try and beat the level as fast as possible to unlock like stickers and music and stuff, which is cool for those who like chasing high scores, but I just don't find much value in that personally. Each level also has 5 collectible coins to find, and those were a lot more fun to search for. Many were cleverly hidden, often behind walls with a subtle crack in them, indicating you can drill through, but some are hidden off ledges or in hard to reach areas. They rewarded careful attention to the environment, which isn't easy when you're often zipping through them at high speed. I always felt just a little bit disappointed with myself when I realized I had missed a coin, and would feel that completionist drive to go back and that satisfaction when I found all 5 coins in my first try. And that feeling was helped by the fact that levels are short, so it never felt like much of an ask to replay, and while you never know exactly where that one last coin is, the game does show you the order of the coins in each level, so If you're missing, say, the second coin in the level, but you got the first and third, you can kind of puzzle out where that second coin is. But the coins mostly felt rewarding because if you got 10 of them, you could unlock bonus levels, which just meant that much more of a game I enjoyed. But there's also only like 4 of those, each one costing 10 coins, and there's 5 coins per level, so you get enough coins pretty quickly. So once I unlocked all the bonus levels, it did diminish the draw a little bit, leaving only the fun of the hunt for them, which again, was fun. You can also use coins to unlock new hair and clothes for your character and sticker pages, which brings me to the most abundant collectible, gold. Or jewels or rubies, the shiny things we as gamers have been conditioned to want no matter what, even if they're purposefully bait to get you killed. There is no doubt a certain satisfaction from getting them, but they also kind of do nothing. They're mostly used as a way to unlock stickers by way of a gacha machine, and there's no microtransaction BS, don't worry. I just found it hard to care about digital stickers for a digital sticker book. So in short, collecting these things in the moment is fun, and that's arguably what matters, but they're not rewarding enough to warrant a replay. The time trials were a lot more successful at bringing me back. It's always fun to challenge yourself and try to get through a level as fast as possible. And to be fair, if you want to get the gold medal or whatever, it's actually pretty hard. You need to really know the map and be on point. So if you're going for that on each level, it will add a fair amount to your playtime. I'm sure speedrunners will love this, and I enjoyed it to an extent too, but the thing is I couldn't help but feel that I was doing time trials not because I necessarily wanted that kind of experience or because I just had to unlock that special sticker, but because I was just looking for a reason to keep playing this awesome game I wanted more of. Pepper Grinder may be short, but damn is it sweet. It's also only 20 bucks Canadian, by the way. When my only complaint comes down to it's kind of short, and if the only complaint about a game is that it was so good I wanted more, that sounds like a pretty damn good game to me.